going to have to just get it out the way because I haven't done any stuff about Overwatch for so long, and I keep planning out these streams and scripting out these streams, and then just never doing them because I treat my community like shit because I'm an arsehole, and I always promise I'm going to become a full-time streamer, and then I disappear for a week and get drunk. I am the deadbeat dad of streaming. But anyway, at least I script them out and then just never do them. At least I wrote the birthday cards, kids. I just never posted it. The thought was there. Too real. Too real. Let's talk about Activision Blizzard. Because Overwatch 2's come out, right? The beta. You don't say beta anymore. Too negative a connotation. You say beta. Never in my life, but that's what it is. So, it's out. And I don't want to just read Reddit comments, but I just have to do this, actually. Sorry, guys. I know all you do is read Reddit comments. Do you even make content? Here was the thing, right? So I'm hoping the thread's still there, right? Because, oh, come on, it's got to be. Because there is, as always with the competitive Overwatch subreddit, there is, the kids call it copium, don't they? And what copium is a fake drug. It doesn't exist like what they say adrenochrome is, but adrenochrome does kind of exist. But anyway, well, it does. It's got that name, but it isn't. It's not what they're pumping into Joe Biden. Anyway, so copium is a fake drug that you huff through a mask, like Dennis Hopper in Blue Velvet, and it's to put you in a state of believing everything's going to be okay, to cope with the reality that everything's not going to be okay. And certainly where Overwatch is, it's not going to be okay. And so the Overwatch community, and it's only the subreddit really, because I saw very real, genuine takes about it on Twitter. But the Overwatch subreddit, the competitive Overwatch subreddit, the copium over there is the strongest copium known to man. Keep in mind, you go on any other esports subreddit, right? You go on the Dota subreddit. You go on the Dota subreddit. The game's dead, it's shit. Valve never listened to us. Literally, Valve employees. Sorry, sir, please buy the next battle pass. I think Axe should be blue. Yep, done immediately, sir. Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you. Like, that's how Valve is with the Dota 2 community, right? And they think they get nothing. Then you got CSGO, which, as we've established, is just threads about me. Why I'm a piece of shit. But in general, state of the game, matchmaking's terrible, cheaters everywhere, Competitive Valorant, obviously big announcements today out there. People discussing the pros and cons. Normal, healthy debate. Very good subreddit, as it happens. One of the best esports ones. You get to competitive Overwatch, there is zero criticism of Activision Blizzard, zero criticism of the game, and certainly zero criticism of competitive Overwatch. No, it's going to be fine. The league's going to be fine. It's going to last forever. The game, it hasn't even got started yet. What do you mean it's dead? Overwatch 2, the best game. So, on Twitter, balance takes, because it's shit. Overwatch 2 is Overwatch with a lick of paint, and it's 5v5 now. And there looks to be zero content in the game. Yeah, but they're balancing it, Richard. Give them time. I don't know how many years they're going to need, indeed have needed. Whatever. It's all good. This thread, man. Like, this to me, I think it would be reasonable to say you were a little bit disappointed with what you actually got with the reveal. And also, as we'll get to, they were all celebrating 1.5 million people watching the Overwatch 2 reveal on stream. Poggers! Not poggers, homies, because it was just people with bots farming drops. Now, again, nothing wrong with it. I'm sure there's some real, maybe 50% of them people are real. But, come on. We all know what's going on. You're not the only game to do it. Here it is. Right. Downvoted into oblivion. Just the lowest of the low. Zero. Just gone. Is it just me? Or is anyone disappointed? Not pissed off, not angry, not entitled, not upset. This is basically the same game. This is the same game with one new... He's noticed. One new character. and a few new maps, some new character graphics, redesigns of characters, but graphics-wise, game-wise, it's the exact same thing. It took 2 years to get this. How is this even Overwatch 2? Right? Check it out, homie. It's the first beta of multiple ones, so it's still pretty early to judge the amount of content, in my opinion. The first beta is always about testing 5v5, and they'll add more when it gets closer to release. Obviously, Overwatch 2 is primarily the new PvE mode they're introducing, but I've always been a bit confused by what people actually think an FPS sequel should look like, and by what parameters Overwatch 2 is missing that mark. Well, listen, he's just said they've essentially released the same game with a lick of paint and one extra character, but, that's what he's... Anyway. Overwatch 2 is just a patch, but it's been vastly rebalanced. The UI has been completely overhauled and redone. The engine has been upgraded. The visuals have all had under-the-hood improvements. All of the gun audio has been re-recorded and remixed. They're really stretching it here with gun noises. And much more modern. And in addition to the new mode, another of which is coming, they have a nice new ping system. Right. 2 years, 3 years of development for that. Some people did have a little bit of a meme at the expense of Overwatch, because it does look really similar, and unfortunately. There was this meme doing the rounds. Shout out to the original Team Fortress Classic homies, if there's any of you left alive. If you actually play the game and not look at a heavily compressed stream, those heavily compressed streams that we're all famous for, the graphics are vastly improved. It's just you. It's not the full game. They're doing this to give people an early access. We don't know how much is coming for Overwatch 2, or how many new heroes in particular. This one, by the way, the most moronic statement I think I've ever seen. Witcher 3 is bullshit. It's the same character and same hair. I mean, I just don't know, homie, because compared to Witcher 2, it also had hundreds of hours more content, improved graphics, improved combat system, completely different combat system. But yes, you've stopped. No one's insulting Overwatch again. What did you expect? I'm going to assume content. This is pretty much what I expected. It's Overwatch with more polish. I love the new sound engine and the look of the new maps. I don't understand. Why do people want an entirely different game for Overwatch 2? The whole core of Overwatch is goated. Why would they change it? I played the same game for years. This is huge for people like me, but people like you will bitch no matter what. So who cares? It's the beta, dumbass. It's unreal. I've never seen a subreddit like this. Like, can we not agree Activision Blizzard are a rotten company, as we're about to get into? Can we not agree with that? Can we not agree that Overwatch has been one of the most mismanaged IPs Activision Blizzard have ever put out? Can we not agree with that? Can we not agree that their esports product was a terrible, rushed, nightmarish, ill-conceived, expensive flop? Can we also not agree, as it pertains to esports, if Overwatch 2 isn't good, it doesn't capture the imagination or capture an audience, the league is pretty much fucking dead. Also, spoiler, in 2 years, Microsoft, the deal's going to go through. Microsoft will have total control, and they will spike the league anyway. Because that's not how Microsoft does esports. See the Halo Open circuit. But no, it's going to be fine, I guess. So let's get into the news. Because it wasn't just about that, but it did make me laugh. Overwatch 2's come out. This is because it was this long ago. This was end of last month. You will recall from previous news that the Overwatch League's been having a bit of a struggle, right, in terms of getting the sponsors back. Obviously, mass exodus of sponsors from the league because of Bobby Kotick's bullshit and all of the lawsuits and everything else, more of which we'll get into in a moment. And this was an article on the Washington Post Gamer Vertical Launcher that pretty much says, listen, those sponsors that were reevaluating their opinions, they're not coming back. they aren't back. And so this was a look at all the sponsors they've got lined up for the league. I'll just wait for the archive to kick in, and just I'll read it for you here, because this does relate specifically to Overwatch 2 and the relaunch of the Overwatch League. As of Thursday morning, and remember this was back in March, the end of March, as of Thursday morning, the Overwatch League doesn't have any sponsors listed on its website. Bit of a problem, especially as they've announced the season's about to start. They lost Comcast. No, they didn't lose. They lost Coca-Cola, Kellogg's, and State Farm. And Comcast isn't going to sponsor the league, but will still sponsor the Philadelphia Fusion, a team within the league. So they haven't been able to get any new sponsors in. Not a great start. Then there was obviously, as I said, the big purchase went through, and now we're left scratching our head about what Microsoft are going to want to do with a franchise model in the first place, because it's not traditionally how they do things. How they do things usually is they're very much believers in the open circuit and like marquee prestige events. If you've followed Halo and you know all about that, then you know that's how they like to do things, and that's how they've always approached it. Also, by the way, when you acquire a company, the first thing you do as a company is you look at the checks and balances sheet and you go, that's making us money, that's good, I like that IP, we want to relaunch that. What's this over here? Just hemorrhaging money. Like, the only reason, by the way, the Overwatch League has sort of been financially successful in a sense for Activision Blizzard is because they were able to con everyone out of all that money up front. They were able to basically say, give us a bunch of fucking money on spec for the promise of something that may never happen, and didn't, and hasn't, and won't. Here we go. We've got the archive, so you can just see what I'm saying. There it is. The impact of the lawsuit. We're going to get to the lawsuit in a moment, but remember, obviously I'm talking about the famous lawsuit about sexism in the workplace that they have arrived at a settlement at now. But for one of them. The impact of that lawsuit on the league's operations remains somewhat unclear, but after the initial lawsuit was filed, big-name sponsors like Coca-Cola, Kellogg's, and State Farm paused their advertising partnerships with the Overwatch League. None of the companies plan to sponsor the league in 2022, they told the Washington Post, though they did not comment if the decisions were due to the lawsuit. A spokesperson for Comcast, which owns the Philadelphia Fusion, said the communications company also doesn't intend to sponsor the league this season. Last season, Comcast's Xfinity was the official internet service provider of the OWL. Because, of course, they would be. Because everyone loves Comcast internet. So you had that then, just because everything has to be a travesty with Overwatch. They just can't do anything right over at Activision Blizzard. And so here's the Microsoft buyout. Now keep in mind, I was a cunt hair away from this one. I'm fucking sad to have missed this. My own fault. Wallowing in my own fucking pit of shame. And hungover. I missed out on this story. I could have definitely got it. People were saying, oh, big news coming. Talk to me. Hit me up. And I was just like, fuck off. I'm so hungover. And then Jason Schreier got it first. But anyway, here you can see that the people in the Overwatch League were essentially surprised. I mean, we were all surprised, but I would have thought your partners might have got a bit of a heads up or whatever, you know what I mean? But evidently not. We are definitely surprised, said Adam Reimer, the chief executive of Envy Gaming. I woke up today to see a few people from the company texting me about it, and then I turned on CNBC. Since 2015, Activision Blizzard has attempted to become the destination for competitive gaming by launching a potentially groundbreaking city-based franchise structure based on the model in traditional sports leagues. Now, this person's never heard of CGS. It would in no way be groundbreaking. It's been done before and failed in many ways. What is it when something's not groundbreaking, but actually it's putting the ground back where it has previously been broken, but replacing the ground with human fecal matter? That's what Activision Blizzard were doing. So, I don't know if there's a term for that. Shit padding? Scat pounding? That was a series of videos on Vince's shelf. Anyway, that's what they were doing. They were not breaking ground in any way, shape, or form. But, you know, these journalists don't even know their own beat, do they? Activision sold franchise slots upwards of $20 million apiece around Overwatch and Call of Duty, two of its biggest titles, that granted owners exclusive access to local markets across North America, China, Europe, and South Korea. And after getting the Overwatch League off the ground, barely, that's kind of like me saying, and after Richard Lewis got out the chair, it's a struggle though. It's not good. The company set an ambitious timeline to host live Overwatch competitions in front of thousands of fans across the 3 continents, and then quickly moved on to launch Call of Duty League in similar fashion. But for the past 2 years, that dastardly pandemic has forced both leagues to dash those plans. Definitely all the pandemic. Heading into the new year, the players in the Call of Duty League are fed up with the state of Activision's latest game. Vanguard was shit, is shit. And Overwatch League teams are strung out, probably literally, waiting for a long-awaited sequel that doesn't yet have a release date. Amid all of this, the Call of Duty League kicks off on Friday with a 3-day pre-season tournament in front of a live audience in Arlington, Texas. Obviously, that's already happened now. The Overwatch League plans to start its 5th season in April, but according to 3 people working for organisations in the league, officials haven't provided the teams with a start date and only a bare outline of the season's structure. The chief executive officer of Enthusiast Gaming, Adrian Montgomery, said the deal makes their organisation more bullish on its investments in the Call of Duty League Seattle Surge and the Overwatch League's Vancouver Titans. I don't know. Listen, no one huffs more copium than the owners themselves, evidently. They are getting high on their own supply. Because a company takeover would not make me more bullish on what is a failed property, a failed project being allowed to stay on because it's full of Bobby Kotick's friends. That to me, that's less likely to happen, isn't it now? But anyway, there are a handful of trillion-dollar companies in the world, and one of them happens to control Overwatch and Call of Duty, Montgomery said of Microsoft. I think that's a very, very good thing. Not if they don't want to run a franchise league, which they probably won't. Another one here. Activision Blizzard reportedly sold the first franchise slots for 25 mil, 20 million in CDL and OWL. Team executives say they're not concerned about having to pay the franchise fees because they're invested in the long term with the intention of building each franchise for a decade down the road. None of us are thinking about the tens of millions of dollars we pissed up against the wall, said Mark Ein, the owner of the Overwatch League's Washington Justice. This is really about building an asset and building assets that are going to be really valuable over time. Now, hands up if anyone thinks the value of an Overwatch League slot has gone up since the league started. Does anyone think that? Anyone? This is how I do my class when I'm teaching. Anyone? I'm on Zoom, but I'm pretending they're in the room with me. No one thinks that, do they? No. Okay, good. Because they clearly haven't and clearly won't. And you might get a spike. Oh, it's Overwatch 2. Let's all watch the same thing with all the same problems. And now a majority Chinese landlocked league. I won't even get into the fact that we're about to start and there's a ton of teams in China. And I don't know if you've seen the news, homies, but people are getting welded back into their houses, aren't they? The drones are out. You must not open your window. So I don't know, man. I'm just saying, maybe a big esports event. Is it going to happen? For a bit. That's all. Anyway, can you imagine, by the way, they're playing fucking in the Overwatch League. You know, Shanghai Dragons are there, and you can just hear in the background. They're just welding the team into the studio. No! Could happen. Anyway, as I said, because everything is a travesty when it relates to Overwatch, they tried to do, because they love the fans, they love the fan engagement as well. They also tried to do a fan art contest, right, at the end of March. They tried to do a fan art contest, right? And what they said was, if you want to enter this contest, do us some amazing pictures. just please don't submit his Widowmaker's feet. And all the deviant artists went, it's all I can do. It's all I know. There have been multiple predatory fan art contests in recent esports history, and the Overwatch League is the latest target of fans' disdain for what they consider to be unfair to artists. Fans of the Overwatch League pointed out how awful the terms of the contest were, right, as well as the derisory $500 prize on social media shortly after the announcement was posted. There it is, calling all fan artists. The Overwatch League 2022 fan art contest has begun. The 5 winning submissions will win $500 each and be featured on a limited product collection. So yeah, brilliant, right? Oh yeah, you're going to use my art, make $500 in Joe Biden's America. That might actually get me a gallon of gas. Come for the esports, stay for the biting political commentary. Anyway, many are pointing to the terms in the contest where Blizzard can use any of the art submitted without permission, no profit sharing from any sales of the art as it's used on the product, and the arbitration clause included in the contract. They do love arbitration over Activision Blizzard. You gotta hand it to them. They know what they love. Is it successful esports and good games? Not so much anymore. Arbitration clauses in contracts, 2 fucking thumbs up. Bobby Kotick's there, he says, listen, what's got 2 thumbs, speaks French, and loves arbitration clauses. Mwah. That joke's usually a lot dirtier and usually funnier, but whatever. Would be massive. Well, wouldn't even be the original. Wouldn't have been inappropriate in an Activision Blizzard context. The contest is for a chance to have artwork displayed on select items that will be made available in the Overwatch League shop after the contest is over. It's unclear what kind of items will be sold. I wouldn't worry about it. No one's buying Overwatch merch. But after the $500 payment from Blizzard, the artists will not receive any additional compensation, no matter how many of the items sell. Blizzard, according to the official rules of the contest, can edit, adapt, translate, modify, publish, reproduce, exploit, and use the the submissions in any way on the website, on its sponsor platforms, or on its sharing platform channels for advertising and promotional purposes. And that lasts for 2 years after you submit the art. Oh, I fucking hate Activision Blizzard. I'm not even pretending to not be biased about them. They're scum. That lawsuit's one of the most hated. Stealing breast milk. Y'all need fucking Jesus. And I tell you, if Jesus went to Activision Blizzard, you wouldn't get the nice feet washing Jesus. You'd get table flipping. Look what you've done to the house of my father, Jesus. Vengeful Jesus. He did exist for a brief period of time before he started smoking weed. So fuck him till the end of time. There's no atoning for that. I'm a hardliner. This means anyone who submits art for the contest, regardless of whether they are a winner, is subject to those rules. They're also bound to arbitration once they submit work, and which is a common stipulation in many contracts that bar complainants from going straight to court. Classic. We wouldn't want you to get justice in any way, shape, or form. This has come up time and time again. There have been like a number of movie competitions by big movie studios that have done things like this. Music studios have done things like this. And it's just sad because it's like $500? Like, it would be an insult for $5,000 to do that. Because you have to believe, given they're also bullish about the league, right? You have to believe, you make more than $5,000 in merchandise sales. Surely you can sell $5,000 worth of mugs if you're the Overwatch League. And just shout out to my old friend, as he's called now, Akinola GG on Twitter. Obviously, you'll know him from League of Legends as Black Enola. A champion has been slain. Good to see him again. Deep lore for the 66-month plus subscribers. So they can't even run a fan art contest correctly or in a way that chimes with the fans. But don't worry, I'm sure the esports product and the launch of their new beta is going to be absolutely fine. Now, let's get to the other thing, the lawsuits. This Bobby Kotick stuff has been absolutely, like, I want you all to remember what I said, because I said consistently, what you will find at the end of all of this is what we've all known for ages, that all roads lead to Bobby fucking Kotick. That this is his culture. He's the greedy one that wants to fucking make or just products that make money, not products that are equality. He's the one that's reportedly threatening to kill his female assistant. He's the one. He's the top guy. So all of the stuff that happened with HR covering this stuff up, it's on his watch. He should have had to fall on his metaphorical sword in public. I've never known a company like Activision Blizzard, by the way. I've never seen a company lose so much in its share price to the point where it cratered so much they were enabled to be victim to what was a predatory buyout by Microsoft. They even publicly said the only reason we bought them is because the share value tanked so bad and the headlines were so negative we knew it was never going to get back. Perfect time to move in. So Bobby Kotick enabled that to happen through negligence. Still, that motherfucker still keeps his job. There is no other CEO in America that would have kept their job for doing this to a company. But no, he gets away with it. It's absolutely unreal. So anyway, you've got all these lawsuits coming through. Just as they get rid of one lawsuit, which, like I say, we'll just get to in a second, they've also been sued again, this time from as it relates to the original lawsuit. Now, if you remember when the lawsuit first came out, I did a stream, it's up on YouTube now, where I read it, and one of the most shocking revelations in it was that a woman had essentially been harassed to the point of suicide. And there was multiple off-ramps where this problem could have been resolved and she could have received support and it could have had a very different outcome. And that was all put in the original lawsuit, along with all the other fucked up shit. Men stealing breast milk, men installing cameras in the toilets, drunken cube crawls. I mean, it's the most... It's like fucking Sodom and Gomorrah run by Caligula, and it's a fucking, it's a media company. So they got sued again, and this time by the family of that poor unfortunate girl that committed suicide. They've got the two lawsuits for sexual discrimination and systemic sexism. They've got an SEC investigation. We'll get to that in a second. And now this on top of that. It is fucking insane. Activision Blizzard, the embattled gaming giant that Microsoft recently agreed to buy for nearly $69 billion, is being sued by the family of an employee who died by suicide, with the family blaming the woman's death on sexual harassment and claiming that a supervisor then lied to detectives about his relationship with her. This is according to a copy of the complaint, which was obtained by the Washington Post. The complaint dated Thursday and filed by the parents of Kerry Moynihan, a 32-year-old finance manager at Activision Blizzard, when she was found dead during a company retreat in 2017, claims that sexual harassment was a significant factor leading to her suicide. Moynihan was first referenced, though not directly by name, in a California Department of Fair Employment and Housing lawsuit filed last July that accused the company of fostering a culture of sexual harassment, misconduct, and gender-based discrimination. The Department of Fair Employment and Housing complaints allegations included that at the holiday party before her death, male co-workers passed around a picture of her vagina. That destructive force of revenge porn, it's horrible. And referenced a male supervisor who allegedly brought sex toys with him on a business trip. Activision Blizzard last year called the lawsuit's claims distorted and in many cases false, and criticised the State Department for including mention of the suicide. We are sickened by the reprehensible conduct of the Department of Fair Employment and Housing to drag into the complaint the tragic suicide of an employee whose passing has no bearing whatsoever on this case, and with no regard for their grieving family. The family's wrongful death lawsuit which indicates it was filed in Los Angeles Superior Court by Paul and Janet Moynihan, claims that their daughter's boss, Greg Restituto, initially lied to investigators in the Anaheim Police Department who were looking into her death in a hotel room at Disney's Grand California Hotel and Spa, concealing that he had had a sexual relationship with her. He did not respond for comment. The family's lawyers provided a copy of the complaint, but had no further comment to add. That shocking revelation comes kind of hot on the heels of the initial lawsuit that the judge is likely to approve an $18 million Activision Blizzard sexual harassment suit. This is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's lawsuit, because remember, there were two lawsuits for sexual harassment and systemic sexism in the workplace. The EEOC and the DFEH. This is one of them. This is the one that is likely to be the one that just goes away quick. They just settle. So Blizzard said we're happy to submit $18 million to be shared among the plaintiffs. The court issued a statement saying we're generally satisfied that both the monetary relief and the non-monetary provisions are fair, reasonable, and adequate. And then the Equal Opportunities Employment Commission said, so this is a Blizzard statement. We are pleased the court recognises our agreement with the EEOC is fair and adequate. We believe it is in the public interest. Our goal has always been to provide immediate and meaningful compensation to eligible employees who choose to participate and to continue workplace improvements that make Activision Blizzard a model for our industry. Now let that settle in. Just let that percolate there, because I don't know what you're a model for exactly. But the reality is, obviously, they are far from a model for the industry. If you were a model for the industry, you wouldn't be embroiled in multiple lawsuits, investigations, and be so shit-fucked in share price, you get bought by a rival company for $69 billion. Which basically was the maximum share price the company had ever been valued at, a valuation you were never going to get back to, not in my lifetime. So don't know what you're a model for, but that's one of the lawsuits gone. They're going to take the $18 million, some relief, for some of the people affected by the terrible working practices. But now you see, we are starting to get these cascading dominoes. The negative headlines have certainly impacted a little bit on the luster of Bobby Kotick. I think not to the degree that they should have. But as you'll remember, in the totally legitimate Coca-Cola sponsorship deal, that definitely happened because Coca-Cola definitely wanted to be part of the Overwatch League, and not because Bobby Kotick was also on the board of Coca-Cola. Well, no, now he's having to leave the Coca-Cola board of director. Coca-Cola, they are certainly not going to want to be anywhere near this. They're a family product. There's absolutely no way what was going on with Bobby Kotick was going to be allowed to happen. And Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick has announced he's going to step down from Coca-Cola's board of directors. Kotick, who's been a director at Coca-Cola since 2012, said he won't stand for re-election because he intends to dedicate more of his time to Activision Blizzard ahead of the company's planned acquisition by Microsoft. That's what he's going to be doing. I've decided, and then he's going to get fired. So, now, in the first move after the acquisition, thank you, Bobby, for everything you've done. I've decided not to stand for re-election to the Coca-Cola Company board in order to focus my full attention on Activision Blizzard at this pivotal time as we prepare for our merger with Microsoft. It has been a pleasure and a privilege to serve on the Coca-Cola board for the past 10 years. Kotick has come under fire for allegedly enabling a toxic workplace culture at Activision Blizzard. Hey, listen, I might not use the word allegedly. I might feel comfortable saying, if you're the boss of a company and a terrible culture fosters under you, in my world, the boss carries the can. I'd leave out allegedly there. I'm all right with it. In November, a Wall Street Journal report alleged Kotick was aware of multiple sexual misconduct allegations at Activision Blizzard. In a statement at the time, a company spokesperson said Kotick would not have been informed of every report of misconduct at every Activision Blizzard company, nor would he reasonably be expected to have been updated on all personnel issues. Kotick was also accused of mistreating several female employees, including leaving a voicemail in 2006 in which he threatened to have an assistant killed. How indeed could this wonderful man be ever blamed for a toxic culture in a business he runs? So he's off. He's gone from Coca-Cola and because he just can't help himself. He's Bobby Kotick. He can't help himself. So just prior to the buyout, just prior to Microsoft swooping in for a move everyone was surprised by, right? Everyone was saying it's a surprise. We just saw the Overwatch League owners, even their business partners were surprised. Employees were surprised. Yet, incredibly, 3 Activision Blizzard shareholders with close ties to Bobby Kotick bought $108 million worth of shares 4 days before the Microsoft acquisition. How did they have the foresight? Man, only the best in Bobby Kotick's circle, right, guys? Only the best. Incredible scenes. American businessmen Barry Diller, David Geffen, and Alexander von Furstenberg are reportedly under investigation for insider trading, having allegedly bought a large quantity of Activision Blizzard shares just ahead of the company being acquired by Microsoft. According to a report from the Wall Street Journal, can I just say, I never thought I would say this, never really liked the Wall Street Journal, certainly didn't like the Wall Street Journal when they came after YouTube and caused the adpocalypse based on absolutely nothing at all, and now YouTube is just a fucking nightmare. Spoiler, you're probably watching this on YouTube now, right? Well, guess what? This video had to be chopped up, edited, scanned, sit in a fucking non-monetized holding cell for 3 days while I appeal, only to then get approved and then only to make me about fucking £80 anyway. So thanks for the click. YouTube's garbage, though. But anyway, I didn't like them. I don't like them. But man, they have absolutely stuck it at Bobby Kotick's arse. I couldn't be happier about that. Every time I read a bad story about Bobby Kotick, of which there seems to be one every week these days, it's always in the Wall Street Journal. And it is nice to see what is meant to be the preferred publication of the fucking, business Illuminati, all these hoity-toity types, actually going after one of their own. Good work. The 3 men bought options to purchase 4.12 million Activision shares on January 14th for a combined value of $108 million. And it was just 4 days before the acquisition was publicly announced. Diller, Geffen, and von Furstenberg have links to Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick. Barry Diller, who is Fox's founder, served on Coca-Cola's board of directors alongside Bobby Kotick, a role that he's recently stepped down from. Music industry mogul David Geffen is one of Diller's close friends, as they previously worked together at the talent agency William Morris. And finally, Diller is married to fashion designer Diane von Furstenberg, who is the mother of Socialite. By the way, I hope one day I get to... How's that for a title? Socialite. Do you do anything? No, I just go to parties and drink cocktails. I'm a socialite. Fucking mental. How's that a thing? Why is there a word for that? The mother of Socialite, Alexander von Furstenberg. The situation is being investigated by the US Justice Department, who is looking into whether any of the options or trades violated insider trading laws. The Securities and Exchange Commission is also conducting a separate investigation based on the same suspicions. So, sorry, my bad. I left out that there was a separate... It's not just the SEC, there is a separate Department of Justice investigation too. Bobby's killing it. He's killing this business, the CEO business. And then, just in case he hadn't fucked it up enough, right? Oh, Lord. I warned everyone back in the day as well, when that Hong Kong thing happened and that letter got issued by US senators Both parties saying, listen, why are you bowing down to China and punishing someone for speaking up for freedom in Hong Kong? It's not very American. We're all about freedom over here. Lol. We're all about freedom over here. And we would never do anything to suppress our populace, or indeed populaces across the globe. How dare you support a regime that would ever do something like that? Lol, lol, lol. So anyway, they wrote that letter, and I said, oh, guys, like, with everything that's going on at the company, you do not want to get on the fucking radar of the US government. Because I'll tell you this, the US government, no one will fuck you harder than them. No one will fuck you harder than them. Like, if they want to put the leeches on you, they are going to fuck you up. They've literally had just a direct appeal. The US senators are now pressuring the FTC to review the Microsoft and Activision Blizzard merger. And of course, it is Senator Warren. She's in there. Booker's in there. Bernie's in there. And so, this is, you've fucked it up now. Because they can just frame it like, oh, well, it's terrible when big businesses get to merge. We'll have to have a look and see if this forms some sort of functional monopoly, and we'll have to have a look at it from an antitrust perspective and all of this. And it's like, if you'd played ball and not done all these like heinous, reprehensible things, and donated your lobbying money like a good billionaire, none of this is happening. They're certainly not going to make a point of saying it as the merger happens. But no, here we are. 4 US senators sent a letter Thursday to the Federal Trade Commission, so put that on the list of investigatory bodies coming from Bobby Kotick's ass, citing concerns about Microsoft Corporation's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard, saying the deal could undermine employees' calls for accountabilities over the alleged misconduct at the video game giant. In the letter, which was reviewed by the Wall Street Journal, Senators Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Cory Booker, and Sheldon Whitehouse urged the FTC chairwoman, Lena Khan, to assess whether the planned transaction could exacerbate the flurry of sexual abuse, harassment, and retaliation allegations at Activision stemming from recent federal and state investigations. We are deeply concerned about consolidation in the tech industry and its impact on workers, the letter says. The senators note in their letter that the terms of the merger enable Activision's long-term chief executive, Bobby Kotick, to continue in his role until the transaction's expected closing in 2023 and receive a significant exit package upon his departure. Last summer, more than 1,800 Activision employees signed a letter calling on Mr. Kotick to resign. This guy is the new Teflon Don. This lack of accountability, despite shareholders, employees, and the public calling for Kotick to be held responsible for the culture he created, would be an unacceptable result of the proposed Microsoft acquisition. If the FTC determines that the deal could worsen the negotiating position between workers and the companies, the agency should oppose the merger. Activision and Microsoft didn't respond for comment. And you're going to go, but Richard, surely it's all over. Surely Bobby Kotick can't have somehow fucked up again and generated more negative headlines. Because what I'd be doing if I was Bobby Kotick at this point, probably going to keep a low profile, probably going to keep quiet. Certainly, just please, just let me get to the end and get my ill-gotten gains and get the fuck out. But no, wrong, guys. You're dead wrong. Bobby Kotick got another negative headline just last week. Sheryl Sandberg, right, pressed the Daily Mail to spike stories about then-boyfriend Bobby Kotick. Report. So, Sheryl Sandberg, Facebook parent Meta's second highest ranked executive twice pressured the Daily Mail to kill potentially damaging stories about her then boyfriend, Activision CEO Bobby Kotick, according to a report. The bombshell report alleges Sandberg contacted the British tabloid in 2016 and 2019. On both occasions, the Daily Mail was working on a story which would have revealed that one of Kotick's ex-girlfriends had to obtain a temporary restraining order against him. Remember, guys, the whole narrative: Bobby Kotick, as a champion of women, would never do anything bad, and he would never foster a toxic company. And these people are all in cahoots with each other. An executive from a big company dating another executive from a big company back channels to a tabloid and gets them to fucking spike a story that would make this person look bad. Sandberg and Kotick reportedly worked with a team that included active employees at Facebook and Activision, as well as paid outside advisors, to develop a plan on how to get the Mail to table the stories. Sandberg and her team were said to be concerned that an unflattering report on Kotick would be harmful to her reputation as an advocate for women. Yes, indeed. Which includes her work with the non-profit advocacy organisation Lean In. Sources told the Wall Street Journal, that Sandberg was first involved in efforts to scuttle the story in 2016 when she and Kotick first started dating, and then later in 2019, closer to their breakup. Nice little present on the way out there. Better than the presents Amber Heard leaves for you anyway. Facebook officials are actively probing whether Sandberg's behaviour constituted a violation of company rules. I'm going to say... surely that can't be a question. She used company resources to intimidate a journalistic publication on behalf of her boyfriend who works for another company. I don't know. So, as you can see, guys, it's all a shit show. It's a massive shit show at Activision Blizzard. And as we knew all along, it was only one source. It was Bobby Kotick the whole time. But all these negative stories, all him, all these terrible decisions, him, this culture. Like, how can it not be related to him when you look at all the things that he's done? What a ridiculous situation Activision Blizzard find themselves in. The Microsoft merger can't come quick enough. And the fact that you've already got organisations poking around the side, and they admittedly are poking around the side, because they're like, we don't want Bobby Kotick to get away with all the fucking heinous stuff he's done. This guy's a fucking turd. This guy's been a turd for so many years. He's just garbage. He's just human garbage. And, like, we all just have to put up with him, I guess. Well, I don't know how he's been allowed to get away with it for so long. Well, I do, because money talks. But as long as he's there at that company, dead to me. Dead to me.